Hello, my name is Nicholas and welcome to another episode of Programming Concepts. Today we're going to talk about enums or enums or enumerations, however you want to call them. And to do that we're going to use some examples. Those examples will be in Java. So let's start with this concept of a fixed set of constants. So you should use enum when you know all possible values in a dataset at compile time, in advance. If something can change, new values can come in or leave dynamically when your program is running, this is not for you. One example of a fixed set of constants are days in the week. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, that's not going to change all of a sudden. When our program is running, we won't need to take to go add some new weekdays into the database because somebody decided that all of a sudden we have 8 days in a week. Now let's jump to our example to illustrate this. We have a class weapon that has two fields, damage and range, both integers. And it doesn't have a weapon type, and we kind of would like to add a weapon type. We have some functionality. Let's say this is some game. We have some functionality where certain character classes fare better with certain weapon types. So we'd like to give weapon this new field weapon type, right? And we know that our game is going to have 4 weapon types. It's going to have axe, a bow, hammers, or swords. And the kind of straightforward way to add this would be to simply add the weapon type as a string, right? So we could add this field type here, make it a string, and then we could say weapon set type axe. That would work. Then we'd say weapon set type, and well, we're a little bit tired that day, so we actually spelled hammer backwards and spelled rema here. I put this in red, but the problem is this is going to compile. And it's not going to be red or whatever when you write this in your IDE. Everything is going to compile just fine. And the problems are going to come at runtime. When you run this and you have some other part of your software where you wrote, if weapon type is axe, do this. If weapon type is bow, do this. If weapon type is hammer, you get the point. Well, did you write a case for if weapon type is rem, huh? The next iteration of our weapon class here is with the weapon type as an enum. So we have the same type field here, but instead of being a string, it's of the type weapon type. And public enum weapon type here. Well, this is the code implementation of an enum called weapon type with those 4 possible values: axe, bow, hammer, and sword. These are capitalized because it's convention to capitalize the kind of these options inside an enumeration in Java. And then setting the type looks something like this, where wherever we want to set the type, we'll call the variable weapon here, say set type, and give it the parameter of that enumeration type that it expects. We'll have some setter method, of course, here that I'm omitting from these class descriptions, but we'll have some kind of set type method and give it this weapon type as a parameter here. And some of the benefits of this, less typos, is what I already mentioned. So if in the previous example you would typo the value of the enum, that's not going to compile. It's going to complain immediately when you type it, and you'll see, oh, I mistyped this, and you'll correct it. It's also a lot easier to change. You don't have to do just random text searches or greps to find maybe where did you say hammer in the code, because you might say hammer in another context. So it's a lot easier to change. Most development environments or integrated development environments provide some kind of ways of just refactoring. You change the name of hammer, you want to change it to something else, and it'll change it in all the places where you've used that same hammer value of that enumeration. It's also a lot easier to find the usage. Of course, these kind of go hand in hand, but if you want to see where in your code you're kind of referring to hammer or have some kind of logic that's based on hammers, then it's a lot easier to use your IDE or whatever you're using to develop to kind of find those places than it is with just a normal grep or text search. And that was enumerations or enums in a nutshell. I hope you learned something, and until next time.